Big cities, big ideas, and bigger dreams. Success and failure around every corner. Welcome to the world of an African entrepreneur on the rise.
I got into technology. I think I just fell into it. When I lost my job in 2010, I needed something, to do. I don't like being idle. So I picked up photography. Photography was the only thing that taught me patience, but it was also my passport into a lot of events. So I started going to a lot of events, meeting a lot of people, until an opportunity presented myself. Like, do you want to use the tool that you've already build interest in to help us expand what we're doing? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Help Google expand their Street View efforts. And I think that's when I realized there weren't a lot of women, there weren't a lot of Africans, there weren't a lot of minorities that were in technology, and that's what really drew me to it. And I think from there, I'm like, okay, I have to stop being a consumer now. I have to start creating something that other people are using. And that's why I love technology.
Right. Yeah, and I have a similar story. For me, on the banking side, I was a project manager on any technology systems that we brought in. The good thing about our CEO was that he wanted you to produce numbers, and the only way you can produce numbers is by using systems and not people, because they didn't want to lay off people. So it just created an opportunity for me to learn technology, because I actually had to go search out the technology that was needed that was going to create the numbers and also the efficiency. So with that, it made it easier for me to fall into technology, because we switched system for all the years that I've been there. We probably switched to 3 different systems that actually were better and better than the last ones that we had. So when I phased into the entrepreneurship side, I was trying to go to various events to see where exactly that I could fit all of my years of experience in corporate America into something that didn't compromise who I was, because you're a different person, when you've worked at corporate America for a long time, and you have to maintain that different person. So with that, then I said, okay, you know what, let's stick to the business consulting, because any event I go to, people generally ask me commercial business line type questions. So, and also with that, when I did my events, I tried to always involve some aspect of technology. And then eventually I said, okay, you know what, it's hard for me to find Africans. It's hard for me to find African Americans that are in technology. Why not just create a publication this way? The job is to search them out, so that when I do my events, which is teaching other people how-to steps, then I didn't have to go recreate my own wheel, because I'd already know them. So when I started the publication, it made it easier for me to reach out to, people like Maureen. It made it easy for me to reach out to Ijoma and say, hey, I need assistance in getting this project off the ground, because we have to reach out to others that are doing it. And Africa was fairly simple. Being based in New York City, they kind of gravitate towards you, because they want you to see, hey, we're not just out in the bushes, scratching.
Exactly.
We're actually creating innovative projects that's social causes type based, applications. So those stories were easier to tell, and in a sense, you're rebranding Africa by allowing the technology to show people that, hey, these people are not just doing this, but they're doing all these different various innovative projects.
And how important is it for you to change? She just talked about rebranding Africa, to change the perception of Africans and what they're actually doing in this country, and the innovation, and just, the whole diaspora.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the reasons why I started MUIPR years ago. I have a strategy background. I do, like I mentioned, market strategy for a publishing company, but I realized that I love public relations, and I didn't get to do a lot of it in my sort of current 9-to-5 role. However, I'd had a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs who are looking for platforms that they can leverage to really showcase to the world, the beauty that is Africa, the essence of Africa that unbeknownst to many, especially in the Western world and beyond. And so it was by working with them, it was, PR kind of came to me. It was working with them and sort of creating either digital tools that they can leverage to sort of get the word out, generate buzz, or, something as simple as, knowing the right newswire channels to get their press releases out. Again, just sort of arming them with the right resources so that they can really start to bring, if it's the fashion designers, start to bring their designs to people here, to the Western world and beyond.
Is there a competition among, women in technology? Like, do you guys get down and dirty, the conventions and everything?
There's not enough of us.
Or is it more of like a sisterhood?
No, it's really like a sisterhood, because there's really, at every corner I only see one, and when I see that one woman, I'm like, oh my God, you're here. Hi.
Girl
like,
power.
so
Nice girl moment.
yeah, pretty much. It's like, now how do we bring the next person up? So whenever I'm involved in any events, I'm always speaking and trying to get more women involved in technology, because there has to be a group of us. If I'm gonna get more opportunities, there's gonna be someone that should be creating opportunities for me, and that's what I'm doing, creating opportunities for other women to follow. Yeah, absolutely. There's no competition right now. There's just not enough of us, and you've done a great job in pulling together women, and encouraging them to like just keep going.
Right. Right. I thanks. Right. I think, thank you very much. Like, let me have my moment. Thank you very much. Ultimately, though, for me, being in publication, yes, on the app side there may not be that much, but sometimes in the publication event side there is. Let's face it, people are threatened. You're coming up, they've established, they don't want you there. Exactly. So, but if you get into that mindset of who you're competing against, you're already dead. You might as well not even start, because nobody wants you to get started anyway. So you see it and you acknowledge it for what it is, and then you actually position yourself and say, okay, you know what can I do that's different? What can I do that's going to draw attention? And I try to keep it as different as I possibly can, because some things you just can't. However, but within the space that I'm working in, I see what they're doing. That's fine. That's great. More power to you. But, my focus is just making sure that I get there and get it the way that I want it to appear. So I bring that competition more internal than looking at the external, because your external vision is not mine. So I don't want it to be confused.
Well,
That's
okay.
That's great. However, that's not my vision. Yeah, exactly. So I make sure that I always try to bring it back in, because you have to acknowledge it. You see it, you acknowledge, wow, I wish I would have thought about that, or wow, this or whatever. Feel away, but don't feel that way. See what can you do, pick it up and do it differently. So yes, I go to tech events, and I will, out of 100 people, see like maybe 5 Black people in a room, so, and once I do, yes, I'm gonna go talk to them and see how they are. Yes, it's that bond, initially, but we're all in this game.
So as entrepreneurs, share with us the highest high and the lowest low that you ever had to face while starting your own venture.
The highest high is when you land that account, when you go to meetings after meetings and you're like, what's going on? When you're sending the emails and you're following up and you're not hearing anything back from them. And that moment when they're like, okay, yeah, let's sign the contract. And it's like, whoa, that's awesome. We just landed this account. And with us, it's like major brands, right? So we've worked with Banana Republic. We've worked with like top, car groups. But the lowest low, again, it's going to be that rejection. You're going to really take it personal at some point. And you're like, wow, is it me? Like, why don't you want to talk to me? Why don't you? What am I doing wrong? And people, it's not really you. You have to understand, when you're going after these accounts, they have a lot on their plate as well. So you really cannot take anything personal. So it's just finding a way to navigate through that rejection. That's really at the low, and picking yourself back up. You have to pick yourself back up. You have to.
Right. For me, it was, with the innovative side, because that's our newest baby, was actually landing like media partnerships with Mobile West Africa, which is a huge event. They have it throughout Africa, Demo Africa, because they also have a Demo USA event, which is like a big deal here. So to have a Demo Africa being that media partner was fantastic. And then followed by Urban Tech Weekend, which is a US-based tech event, for this for African Americans, which is not prominent. There aren't that many of those happening. So when those kind of happened back to back to back, I was like, wow, So yeah, I was super happy. I mean, publicity everywhere and seeing our logo everywhere and knowing that our brand is now overseas. Yay, Exactly. So that was like one of my, victories. The lows, of course, well, with that also meant that more people were sending us more press releases. So it actually pulled in the people that were developing their apps for the first time that needed that publicity, that needed people to know about their brand and to get it out there. The lowest low is always that no. So, you have your moments of self, gratification. Yes, I did this. But then, you get that no, we don't want your brand because your brand's not big enough, for us to work with. So, but, for me, I do take no in strides. I've gotten past the stage in my life where your no means anything to me.
Exactly.
It means no value to me. It just means, okay, that's fine. I got 50 others I got to call, so I'm not stuck on you. So in any entrepreneurship, a lot of people do get caught up on their no's. I've gotten past that stage in my life where your no means anything. It just means that I have to go through 100 more. So what? That's what would have happened naturally anyway. So, but when that happens, as I've stated before earlier, I wait, because the people that told me no when I first started are actually coming back to me.
Yes.
So, and luckily that I'm not one of those people that are like, now you want to come back. Right. But I don't burn bridges. It has no value for me to do that. So when they're coming back to me, then that message for me is like, okay, now we're starting to recognize your brand. So now I feel more comfortable working with you, because from their perspective, it could have been, can she do it? So it's a trust issue. So we don't trust that you're going to be able to deliver our brand the way we want you to. So now you're coming back to me. I'm now saying, okay, now you trust me with your brand. That's fine. That's your baby. I'm willing to take, steps to make sure that I don't drop the ball.
Right.
And then I just want to just add on to that real quickly, I think, and I don't want to make it seem like it's all about being a minority or being a woman, but I do think that we have to work 10 times harder, to prove ourselves, and that's one of the biggest challenge that I face. It's because wow, why do I have to prove that I'm worth this account? Exactly. And so I get that a lot, and it's like, I can count how many times I get that, and it's kind of like, once I get the account, see, I told you I can do it. I told you we can execute this way. But you're always going to face that. So expect that. I wish there was a way to erase that part, but it's part of the journey, and you're always going to have to prove yourself.
Just let me be great.
Yeah, give me the opportunity to show you that we can do it. But it's like you have to go in there and just take it. Don't wait around for anyone to say, okay, well, you can do it. No, just go in there and tell them you can do it.
I'll play a quick devil's advocate, but only men have gravitated towards working with me. I found that all of my opportunities have come from men, not from women. So for me, it wasn't, all I did was send out my thing, and I think they saw the name and they're like, okay, she's sending this out, let's see what she can do. So those opportunities for me, because in a text-based publication, there are more men.
Yes.
So, so I'm like one of the very few. They have tech blogs that's combined with other things. I'm specifically tech. So when they see that, that's why I think that it comes into play for me. So then the others would come circle back around, because they're like, let's just see what she could do. So yes, I still had to prove myself, because it still comes back to trust. However, I was able to do that, and it worked so far.
So, Ijoma, what is your end game? Why are you here? And why is it so important for you to be that voice for African women and for entrepreneurs and for people who are in the tech world, trying to make it and trying to fulfill their dreams?
As an African woman, I believe that I will not rest, I will not stop until the Western world and beyond is aware of the beauty in Africa, the essence of Africa. There's this reoccurring issue going on now with Ebola. So now Africa is carrying this weight, this heavy weight of Ebola now. So, I kind of, sometimes, I was working the other day, and something happened, and then one of the co-workers was like, wait, when was the last time you were in Nigeria? And it was ha ha ha. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't funny, and I feel like Africa has been, there's always sort of this very like unpleasant,
Yeah.
sad, oh, I want to help, exactly, quarantine element to Africa. And that is not the Africa that I know. That is not the Africa I was born into. That is not the Africa I left. And that is not the Africa that I still, visit every year. So I believe that every day when I wake up and every day that I go to bed, the one thing that gets me excited is that I'm an African woman who started a PR group to work with Pan-African brands, but now with, sort of obviously cultivating new sort of projects to expand our footprint into non-African markets. I want to be able to take the essence of Africa to other markets. I want to be the individual, and obviously working with our partners, to be able to show, hey, listen, an African woman can actually do this, and showcase that this is the beauty of Africa that is not what you see on TV. And that really is what fuels my passion. I don't think that, a lot of us here know how much potential there is on the continent. So.
Thank you very much. Ani?
Yeah, for me, I feel like just getting the message out about just the technology space, the minorities that occupy that space. We know that your TechCrunches and your Mashables of the world, they will pick up certain stories. They do, if it gets their attention or if it's made enough money. So, for me, that's not the goal. My goal is just to highlight, period. Make sure that everyone's aware, hey, there are minorities creating these applications. There are minorities getting funding. There's people in Africa that's creating very innovative applications, such as like one that I could think of was like no prick. You didn't have to prick your hand anymore to find out if you had malaria. You just stick your hand in this app and it reads it and lets you know without you having to go to the doctor. Yeah, it sends over the information, to the doctors. So innovation, is key, and to be able to let people see that Africa is not, as Ijoma mentioned, is not just this, disparity. That there's a lot that's going on. There's people within Africa that are creating things that work, as well as those, in the USA too, as well. There are, creating, doing things such as, Voss Map. So to be able to highlight and bring that attention to me is priceless, combined with the fact that when we do our events, those tech events, and being able to say, hey, come out and listen, come find out how you too, can do this. It's not going to be easy, but if you get the best practices and best tips, you'll be able to take a few steps forward that much better and with confidence, because now you're learning from people that are doing it daily.
Right. Okay. 1 room, 3 people for an hour. Who would it be and why?
Okay. 1 room, 3 people. Quick. Wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I have to go back to my mentors. I have mentors. My mentors are always older than me. So my first mentor would be Michael Ventol, only because he looks at me, gives me sound advice, and helps me to always look at the opposite of what I didn't see, and that's my reality check. The next, of course, I'm going to choose, someone like an Oprah. I don't want to be like Oprah. I want to know her struggles. I want to know, how did she overcome and how did she stay motivated? And there's low periods. We can see her ratings. There's low periods. How do you get past that? And last but not least, I'd have to say like Steve Jobs, and only because innovation, when no one believes in it, it's an uphill battle, and you always are having to sell it every second until you actually accomplish it. You mentioned being visual, people. Creative people tend to be very visual people. So I would need someone that could actually give me, that, and say, keep your visions alive, and, grow from there.
Correct. I'm definitely going to put Oprah in there.
Oprah's all around?
Oh, no, she's definitely not like Oprah, but Oprah, because I think for her to be able to accomplish what she's done, I want to know what your exact story is. I can read all day, but I really want to know what your exact story is. For me, Elon Musk.
That's one of mine. Sorry. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about what he's done with Tesla, SpaceX. And if you know me, I am like a Tesla enthusiast. Like, he's just, really. I'll tell you about it later, and I will. And lastly would be myself. I think I want to get outside of my mind and just kind of ask myself a few questions. Sometimes we are too wrapped up in ourselves, and I just want to say, hey, I want to have a conversation with myself. That's what I want.
That is so poetic. A little Janelle Monáe.
Well, one of the folks I'll definitely love to have in the room would be Michelle Obama. You know, for me, she's a woman of strength. Second person would definitely be Desmond Tutu. You know, he is just, I mean, just no words. And the last person would be, you know, Elon Musk. He's a social entrepreneur. You know, I've written about him quite a bit. You know, not just his Tesla work, but sort of how he's able to sort of, you know, continue to create ideas and that fuel sort of, you know, create change, you know, and impact the lives of other people in a global way, not just in a way that benefits sort of one group of people. So.
Well, I want to thank you ladies for joining us on The Rise. And I congratulate you guys on your endeavors, and I wish you much success.
Thank you.
Going forward, you guys have inspired me.
well.
Now I feel like I can take on the world. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.